friends. Welcome to today's episode of Leading with Love, the podcast where we explore how love, empathy, acceptance, and diversity can transform the way we lead at work, within our families, and within our communities. I'm your host, Laura, and today we're diving into the topic of creating a culture of kindness. Now, whether you're a leader hoping to foster a welcoming environment at work, a teacher encouraging empathy in the classroom, or simply someone looking to make a difference in the world around you, this episode is for you. So let's start with the basics. Why is kindness so important? Research consistently shows that acts of kindness boost morale, reduces stress, and strengthens relationships. In workplaces, organizations that prioritize kindness see higher engagement, better teamwork, and lower turnover. In schools, kindness leads to more inclusive and supportive learning environments. And on a personal level, kindness improves our own well being and helps us feel more connected to others. Now, I believe you don't always have to be nice, but you should always strive to be kind. You might wonder about the difference. Being nice often means being pleasant and agreeable, which are positive qualities, but not always helpful in every circumstance. Sometimes being nice can lead to unhealthy habits like trying too hard to please others or overwhelming yourself. Kindness, however, isn't about pleasing everyone or saying yes to everything. It's about how you interact with others. You can kindly say no if you can't take on more responsibilities. You can kindly disagree when someone's opinion differs from yours. And you can kindly share your feelings if someone's words or actions hurt you. That's why I emphasize that you don't need to be nice all the time, but to receive kindness from others, it's important to act with kindness yourself. Now, if kindness is so impactful, why isn't it always the norm? Sometimes we're busy, distracted, or fearful of being misunderstood. In competitive environments, kindness can be mistaken for weakness. Being a leader in the corporate environment myself, I have absolutely had my kindness mistaken for weakness. But I've made the conscious decision to pick my battles and avoid matching negative energy. Now, that doesn't just apply to work. I try to apply that in all aspects of my daily life. And I say try because no one is perfect, and it's a little harder with those who are closest to us that we love. They tend to be able to touch parts of us that others can't, but I digress. Let me share a real life example about not matching someone's energy that happened to me just last weekend, and I bet many of you can relate. So I was driving out of town when unfortunately I got caught up in an accident scene. A man in a pickup truck was apparently trying to merge into my lane, even though merging wasn't required by traffic, but I simply just didn't notice him. I was lost in my own thoughts, listening to my music. I had no idea he wanted to get over. But this clearly frustrated him because he rolled down his window, shouted something, and then was making aggressive hand gestures. In that moment, I had a choice. I could have responded in kind and escalated the situation, but because I've spent time working on myself, my immediate reaction was to laugh. I just eased off the gas and let him merge ahead and went on my way. I'm assuming that he thought I was intentionally blocking him, but that wasn't true at all. And after I let him in, he offered a thumbs up, sent me a thank you wave, and we both continued on our way. Now, had I reacted with the same hostility that he had for me, things could have taken a turn for the worse. And it's definitely not worth it, especially these days. You never really know what someone else is dealing with. So, since I meant no harm, there was no reason to make a big issue out of it. And this brings me to another principle that I try to follow: assume good intent. If you don't have clear evidence of someone's intentions, choose to believe they meant well. Doing this isn't really about the other person, it's about maintaining your own peace of mind. Even if someone was actually trying to hurt you with their words or actions, by assuming good intent when you're not sure, You create a reality in which their negativity simply doesn't affect you. Think about my experience with that driver's road rage. He probably assumed that I acted out of malice, which likely raised his blood pressure and put him in a bad mood, potentially for the rest of the day, ultimately disturbing his own sense of peace. But if he had chosen to assume that I simply didn't see him and thought, well, she didn't notice me, I'll just move behind her, he could have avoided some frustration and preserved his peace. That's why I say, when in doubt, assume good intent. So, again, sometimes being busy, distracted, or fearful of being misunderstood can be barriers to showing kindness. But another obstacle to kindness is what's called the bystander effect. And that's the belief that someone else will step in to help, otherwise known as that's not my problem or that's none of my business. So here's a real life scenario. One day at work, I'm walking through a crowded cafeteria at lunch. There were people sitting in groups together, others were eating alone, some were just passing through to grab something quick on the go. But I noticed one individual sitting in a corner, quietly crying to herself. And despite the room being full of people, no one seemed to notice or care about her distress. In that moment, I decided to walk over. I sat beside her and I said, "You don't have to share, and it's okay if you'd rather be alone, but I want you to know that someone cares. So if I can help, or you just need someone to talk to, I'm here." Now, I won't disclose our conversation because that's not what matters. What matters is that she was in crisis, and though many people were surrounding her, no one saw her. Everyone just kept it moving. At that point in time, it wasn't typical for me to eat lunch. I usually just didn't have the time. So I really believe that our paths were meant to cross that day. Kindness was what she needed in that moment, to know that she wasn't alone and that compassion exists. And this is what it means to live by that old trope of being a family at work, to let your actions match your words as a leader. And in the communities, that's what it means to love your neighbor. We can't give in to the bystander effect, friends. We all need each other. And perhaps someone would have offered to help that young lady and stopped and asked if she was okay. But if not me, then who? Maybe nobody. So I want us all to be that person. Never let the opportunity to show kindness pass you by. Now, we've talked about some barriers to kindness: being busy, distracted, afraid of being misunderstood, and the dreaded bystander effect. Recognizing these barriers is the first step toward overcoming them. So let's talk about that. How do we overcome these barriers to build a culture of kindness? Well, first and foremost, lead by example. Again, if not you, then who? Start by modeling kindness in your words and actions. Small gestures like saying thank you, actively listening for understanding and not just to respond, or offering to help can set a powerful precedent. Number two, encourage open communication. Create spaces where people feel safe sharing their thoughts and feelings. Acknowledging emotions and validating experiences builds trust. Number three, celebrate acts of kindness. Recognize and reward behaviors that exemplify kindness. This could mean shout outs in meetings, kindness boards in the classroom, or social media spotlights. We have to be intentional about driving the right behaviors in those we lead. Number four, actively practice empathy. Try to see situations from another person's perspective. Empathy helps us respond thoughtfully instead of reactively. Approach situations from a place of curiosity. Take the time to ask questions to help you understand the other person's perspective. Once you've done that, then I think it's safe and appropriate to ask if you can offer them a different perspective. If someone doesn't feel heard, it's not likely they're going to hear you. And we all want to feel heard. And number five, address unkind behaviors promptly. As a leader, you can't sweep negativity under the rug. It's important to address issues promptly but respectfully and use them as teaching moments. Now, I'd love to hear how you all are creating cultures of kindness in your life. Maybe you're a manager who implemented a gratitude wall in your office, a student who started a peer support club, or a neighbor who organized a monthly community outreach event. Your story can inspire others, so let us know in the comments. And if you're just getting started, that's okay. You don't have to make some big grand gesture to start building a culture of kindness around you. The reality is that if you start too big, it may not come across as sincere or genuine anyway, and it's not likely to be sustainable for you as an individual. Change takes time and commitment, so if you need a quick and easy way to get started, it can be as simple as smiling and acknowledging people who cross your path. That alone can help you become more approachable and feel like a safe space for others. And don't listen to the naysayers. As you're changing the way that you show up, there will be people who choose to only see you for who you used to be or stay stuck in how they may have previously perceived you. That's a them problem, not a you problem. Shut out the noise and stay steady on your path to becoming the person you are truly meant to be. Remember, every act of kindness counts and can quite literally change someone's life. As we wrap up this episode, I have an affirmation I want to share with you. So close your eyes unless you're driving. Take a deep breath in, relax as you exhale, and receive the affirmation. Every act of kindness I choose strengthens the culture I am building around me. My words heal, my actions inspire, and my presence brings peace. Again, every act of kindness I choose strengthens the culture I am building around me. My words heal, my actions inspire, and my presence brings peace. I'll say it one more time. Say it with me. Every act of kindness I choose strengthens the culture I'm building around me. My words heal, my actions inspire, and my presence brings peace. Let me know in the comments if this affirmation resonates with you, and feel free to share one of your own if you like. That's all for this episode, friends. Thank you for joining me today on Leading with Love. If today's episode inspired you, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who also might enjoy it. Let's work together to create a culture where kindness is the norm, not the exception. Join me next week as we continue building a world led with love.